Notes for my December 2025 reading of 2018 book Heart, A History by Sandeep Jauhar. Today is Monday, 22 December 2025, and here I, Tanis Coralee Leonhardi of Seattle, talk through my book and reading notes for my December 2025 reading of a book on the history of heart research, cardiology, including self-experimentation progress and the author's own in-person experiences as a heart failure specialist. This is Heart, A History by Sandeep Jauhar. This is a 2018 Farrar Straus Giroux First Edition. The first edition. Hardcover. ISBN in the video description. I started the book on Thursday, 18 December 2025, and finished the book on Monday, 22 December 2025. It's 271 pages, including the About the Author section. It took me 5 days of reading. 30 pages Thursday, 18 December, 60 pages Friday, 19 December, 50 pages Saturday, 20 December, 60 pages Sunday, 21 December, and 71 pages Monday, 22 December, which is today, the day I'm filming this. And this is my own personal copy that I bought earlier this month, December 2025, with cash. And I did do a little blurb in the front about, like, well, I guess this should go in the number 9. I bought it on 9 December 2025 with cash. So I did write, that stuff down. The number 9 has meaning to me. And it's a great, I've covered this before. I read this earlier this year. I read a library copy earlier this year, so this time it's my own personal copy. And, I forgot. So I really enjoy it. It goes back, heart research has been going on for thousands of years, and even there was heart depictions and like paintings and stuff like that go back, like over 5,000 years ago or something like that. So, the heart stuff has been around a while, and he does a great job of kind of like broadly covering the progress, but then kind of interspersing it with his own research. In like work. And I thought I was like, is there anything stand out? And see if from reading, I was like, one where he was new to or relatively new to in person taking care of patients, and he takes the blood pressure measurement on one arm and it was low, so he goes to the other arm to take a measurement and there's no blood pressure measurement, and he's like, okay, and he kind of gets forced out of the way by other eager newbies, so to speak. And then the next day he finds out that that's actually an actual condition, and the patient dies a few hours later. And I was like, oh. Yeah, now you have to have a blood pressure reading in both arms. So it's like, wow. I remember with the heart, things can go wrong in seconds, minutes, and hours, and it can be the person's dead. All right, so I flagged some things, and so here we go. Page 21, it talks about how the heart, for for very long, and it kind of brings it back, was the source of emotion. Yeah, and so, and like you can, yeah, it's where emotion is housed. Like if anything tugs on the heartstrings, so to speak, and makes you cry, that might be, a heart emotion. Yeah. Page 31. Let's see. So I've talked a little bit about with my own cardiology, self-experimentation, stress not being a variable for me. So there's life-threatening stress has some certain reactions. And I was like, here's one. So I have lowering of blood pressure without slowing of the heartbeat. I don't have a low heart rate. I have a healthier heart rate, which is like 60 to 79 is the healthy range. So while I do have lower end of healthy blood pressure, I don't have the slowing of the heartbeat. So if somebody's under a bunch of stress, there should be low blood pressure and low heartbeat. So for me, for the parasympathetic effects. So nope. All right. Page 61. A cardiologist and a physicist invented the echocardiography in Sweden in the 1950s. It's like, see? I have a Bachelor of Science in Geology and Geophysics with a minor in mathematics, as well as, work experience with, medical certifications is required as part of the income I got. And then self-experimentation for a while, and then multiple hospitalizations with documentation and stuff. So I was like, but I have physics. I have quantitative, I have math, I have geology. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Geology and Geophysics with a minor in mathematics. So it was like, I would be like that. Those two pairing up would be just me, right? Two roles in one, if I could get on top of my stuff. All right, page 90. Quote, early the following morning, as the patient's blood pressure dived and she became unresponsive, unquote. So a consequence of low blood pressure is unresponsiveness, which I've brought up before that I fainted. However, they took my blood pressure, so I went, both times I went to the emergency room, one right away and one like the next day or 2 days later or something. And they did take my blood pressure and it was fine at both. It was healthy. So they're like, blood pressure, but here are some other options because you don't actually have low blood pressure. And now my blood pressure is like 20 points lower. So I'm kind of like, so I'm throwing that out there because I think something, anyway, I'm continuing on. But the person becomes unresponsive and I fainted. So, you know, that's might have been why the medics brought it up each time. So that was 2009, 2014. All right, page 128. They found that playing with rabbits, actually, like play conditions, reduced heart disease by like 60%. Yeah, so if you don't want heart disease and your rodent, you know, play with it. It's for real. All right, page 186. Quote, though patients with heart failure are often literally drowning in their own fluids, unquote. I had nightmares. You know, I've been spending the past 25 to 30 years of my life trying to figure out why I had nightmares about drowning. And I was like, it's really my God, Hades, being like divinely intervening through my nightmares, being like, you were born to be a cardiologist, girl. You're not drowning through swimming. You're drowning in your own fluids by heart failure. Cardiology was meant for you. And me, because it's a subsurface heart or human body organ. All right. So page 207. Quote, Loan's research confirmed for the first time that emotional stress can initiate life-threatening arrhythmias, unquote. And I was like, you know, I kind of like the rabbits live longer when they're happy, they play. It was like, it was about, you know, emotions might actually be stored in the heart because it caused heart disease if they weren't played with. You're like, well, okay, then that emotion, happiness, is a heart emotion, not a brain emotion, because it can't, you know, not doing it causes heart disease, not brain disease. So this is another one where I was like, well, if there's a direct causal link to arrhythmias, then emotional stress might also be housed in the heart. I was like, there's another explanation. All right, page 233, the person talks about kind of, I think it was their own condition, but like a condition of premature ventricular contraction. And I was like, honestly, this and what I read like last decade, 2010s, is kind of what I think happened with my heart in both faintings. Is like I had one of these and it was like my body and Hades being like, you know, you really want to keep fainting or like make this part of your routine? Wake up, girl. Your heart can't do what this author's heart does. And so I think that if I had to prescribe at this point, I'd be like, possibly that. Not the low blood pressure, because that wasn't present technically at either medic reading of my blood pressure for the faintings. So there we go. And then page 238, it talks about how 1 hour of, quote, 1 hour of stress management daily have the greatest improvement in coronary blood flow, unquote. So, end quote. It's talking about, so it's part of it, can start on the previous page, 237. It talks about how if you want improvement in, you know, heart blood flow, stress management daily for 1 hour. And I was like, that's me and my squirrels. There we go. So those are my notes for my December 2025 reading of 2018 book Heart History by Sandeep Jauhar. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi of Seattle.